Hello everyone, in that video I would like to show some features of MoPlugs project concerning to graphics. And the main thing that I would like to show it's GPU geometry cache, which for me quite useful feature because it helps to collapse a huge amount of objects, the static environment, into a special very well organized form that Motion Builder can very quickly display without any real impact on performance. And that quite helpful for me when I'm working with animation. And by the way, this GPU geometry cache object supports ray tracing feature of Motion Builder. So for me it's helpful, for example, when I'm doing car simulation or put some elements on the environment, I probably don't need to have these real elements. I can put them into GPU cache and I will have all needed features to continue working with animation, to prepare some null objects, for example, or collision with the geometry to put element on the floor or something like that. And other good positive moments of this GPU cache is that it's quite fast. The first thing was performance. Another thing that's very fast in load, in store the scene, and also when you clear the scene. So comparing to a huge amount of elements. So let me show. I have this prepared, the cube array. This is actually the 15.5 cubes in the scene. So I just make a clone of one cube with the texture. It's a simple 2D texture. And by the way, I make this huge amount of cubes using the array tool. This is also a script, this is tool part of MoPlugs project, replication of what we have in 3D Studio Max. It's very similar looking and in behavior as well, this one. But very good advantage of this tool in Motion Builder that we could do cloning by file merge. This is very helpful when you have characters that you would like to put them in a grid, for example, and just to duplicate and have a lot of copies of characters. So in that case, file merge helps to keep all the functionality of a character, like character structure, control rig, and so on and so forth. So that's quite helpful possibility of that tool. So here is the 15,500 of cubes. You see that on my laptop the performance is really not very good. I have around 20 frames per second, which is not affordable for a good animating, to really feel animation, to work with animation without any limitations. Yeah, it's better to have more than 30. But anyway, let's say this is my environment, that's what I should work with, and for me it will be helpful to have this environment as the background. So it's quite simply, I can select all static objects in the scene. There is the feature which look through every object in the scene, and if this object is not deformable, there is no constraints for that object and no keyframe animation on their transformation channels, it will select this element. But as I have only cubes and nothing else in the scene, I will use select all. This menu item will be faster in execution time, and I will have selection of every cube. So then I go to save static objects to file, and I'm just going to GitHub. This is where I can find as well examples, like this is the clone what I have on the repository, MoPlugs, MB scenes, random features, cube array cache. So I'm save. Yeah, this is the notification that everything is done. And now I need to clear scene, or simply delete from the scene if I have a character, everything else, and I don't want to have static elements anymore, just only cache. So I can simply delete from the scene to spend some time on it, just only once, and then import the cache, and everything will be quite faster. But you see, even when I'm making a new scene, it takes a lot of time. We will compare later with the geometry cache. There are two possibilities to import geometry cache. One, it's import a GPU cache object and a shader. So it will be like traditional form of this one predefined pre-cached data, which will render everything very fast. And another way is to import GPU geometry cache file to extract back the geometry, materials, textures, and everything else. So this is the possibility of back extraction, what we have collapsed into the GPU cache. So we import the GPU cache object, our cubes. This is quite fast, and here what we have, so this is our 50,000 of cubes. And if we have a look at the profiling center, the performance is really very good. We can continue on our animation without any impact on performance. So this is probably what we need for good animating. And we have this texture as well for every element. And one important thing, that every texture right now contains mip-map levels. So this will, as a result, we will have less shimmering as the original texture in Motion Builder, because as usual, only using directly DDS format. But to use DDS, you probably need to convert the texture to DDS, which takes a lot of time, and I think really nobody do that. But that will give you a faster load time and better picture in viewport, by the way. So we have this GPU cache, and one more thing that I would like to show what we can do with this is simply duplicate. Because it suggests the shader which render in the specific transform, we can do like that, and now we will have 45,000 of objects, and performance is really good anyway. You see? So for me, this one is convenient, and I hope it will be useful for you as well.